make Stitches hungry.
No Tomorrow takes one game off of Gale Force eSports, but can they get more? That's our big question as we get ready for the draft of game number 2. But still, game number 1 looked very solid from them.
It did. You know, it's just keep it coming. That's all I want to see out of No Tomorrow. You know, it's just amazing. I don't think I've ever seen a team improve so much so fast in my life, just period. In competitive Heroes of the Storm, a team that just went from obvious internal struggle to at least it looks like turning over a new leaf.
Getting the first game win in part 2 off of Gale Force eSports. So let's see what they can continue. Gale Force eSports now can choose either first pick or Battleground pick. Dread's throwing his pin. Let's see what they chose.
Don't mind me.
They chose Battleground pick. How interesting.
Ooh. Gale Force eSports taking us to Tomb of the Spider Queen. Not a Gale Force go-to map, really. You know, Brax's was banned out, Towers is already taken up. So maybe I'm not giving it enough credit there. Maybe it is more of a, you know, home, but I don't. Gale Force doesn't. I guess he took Superstars to Tomb.
They did, and it was after Superstars
Brax's
picked first pick. And that's where they played double support, double warrior, but it wasn't as easy of a double support, double warrior as some of the other Battlegrounds they could play that on.
Yeah, it's you know, it's not nearly as easy on that map than it is on some of the other ones. So I'm just excited. What do we see out of No Tomorrow in this draft? Do they change things up? Do we see Gale Force with drastic changes as well? I feel like if they run double warrior, double support in how No Tomorrow played in game number 1, they will lose this game.
Yesterday, we saw double support, double warrior get beaten. It was a different series, but Team Freedom beat it when B-Step drafted it by using Gul'dan.
Yeah.
And Gul'dan, talking trees, we've seen him play that before.
That's another good point, and it works on the map, so maybe that's going to be a focus. It would help with the weaknesses when it comes to the early laning phase of that type of draft. It would really counter that, and then maybe be able to complement the team fighting as well. I don't know.
We head into it now.
I don't know if Gul'dan is the answer, but it definitely was a part of the reason we were able to see that strategy go down.
Yeah, a lot of that was because of Ariel, too. Ariel was one of the supports. B-Step was banking a lot on Crystal Aegis.
Lucio's banned out, so just straight up just going, man, we don't really want to deal with traditional double support. There goes the task. So this is going to be first pick Malf on the side of No Tomorrow with the Lucio ban out. Unless I'm crazy.
It is not immediate.
The fact that there's Patience now going maybe focus more onto the Arthas or the Gul'dan.
Maybe they think that the double warrior is only terrifying when it's with Lucio. Double support. Possibly.
I can tell you I would really enjoy either a Zarya or a Vala as the pick here. It's one thing that I've noted is happening more frequently, especially with L5 in their drafting when it comes to the Zarya problem, is they stopped worrying about Zarya and they started just going, you can't do it without Vala. So they just flat out banned the Vala instead of the Zarya and saying the generic supporting trio is only that terrifying when you have a hyper carry like the Vala. In every other case, it's acceptable, at least. So there it is. Yeah, so they either ban it or then they first pick it and then just go, if you take Zarya, there's no other synergy for you to get a big enough trio for me to be afraid of that. It's only Zarya Vala and then with another support. Is that truly strong enough to be intimidated? I don't know if No Tomorrow agrees, but feels like it.
Well, what I like too is Gale Force has Fan, who is a very good Vala player too.
Yeah.
So I like taking the Vala away, even though we know how much No Tomorrow loves Zarya, so being willing to consider all aspects, not only what works the best for them, but Vala, Jason's been playing really well with her, and making sure that they take that away from Gale Force here on Tomb. But does this mean that Gale Force has to take Zarya?
Yes, that's what that pretty much does. It forces a Zarya, and then if you really feel like you need to pick up the support, you're afraid of a Malfurion, it's a nice pickup. They actually just double support right out the gates. Ooh. Only leaning a bit more towards the No Tomorrow side of things. I guess technically according to the camera it's over this way. But in fact, I am leaning more towards the No Tomorrow side. Now seeing the double support right out the gates.
This is what Gale Force did on Team last time. They picked Lucio Ariel.
But Lucio Ariel is not, in my opinion, as good. It's not like Mouth's any bad by any means, but in the double support, I do think the late game presence that the double AoE supporting brings is just insane compared to the Malfurion. Malfurion makes up for it more in his CC and obviously his Twilight Dream. But I'm more worried about the fact that if with No Tomorrow already taking them on Towers of Doom, with the Zarya strategy, having a better version of it, and in my opinion, oh, they're gonna avoid
Zarya?
it. No way. Okay,
Yeah.
they at least get the Zarya. Just after that last game, I don't see the double support, double warrior working nearly as well for Gale Force as the first time we had seen this strategy. I think they feel like they found a strategy that's really neat and all, but it's just maybe, you know, we gave them credit on the creativity, but maybe that's the only 2 drafts they have for us. The last game, very meh. Not considered objectively that strong of a draft into what is, again, internationally respected as a absurdly powerful strategy.
Towers is not where they run anything special, though, right? Like
That's
not
true.
where they're going to run their double warrior, double support, as we know now.
Yeah.
Because that was the first time we saw Towers. And it's not where they're running Zag Falstad.
Stitches is hanging out down there. Chilling like a villain.
Is that Chef Stitches?
Sure is.
Oh.
He's got a nice little thing going on up there on the
That's
upper
called
lip.
a mustache.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got it rolling thick. I didn't know that. I haven't, paid that much attention. I didn't know abominations could grow mustaches either. I'll be honest. At least not as well groomed as that one.
He puts a lot of people to shame.
There was the Arthas ban out. The support removal of the medic makes a bit more sense, just again with the lack of offense that double support, double warrior provides.
What did we get last time we were in this situation as Gale Force?
I
Lunara, Johanna, and then Arthas to finish.
I would have, banned the Gul'dan over it. Or a Lunara. Would I have? Which one's a bigger
Over
problem?
Arthas?
I think so. So you have to ask yourself, am I afraid of, are there enough good double warriors that it's better to rid of one of those? Or are there enough backline sit-back poke damages that you can, essentially ban one out well enough? And I feel like Gul'dan, just based on the early game, wave clear that he provides would be a better ban out than the Arthas would translate to the later parts of the game. Don't get me wrong, I think Arthas is absolutely insane in power, but the Gul'dan and what that provides to the wave clear of this double support composition is huge. It really makes up for their weak macro.
I wonder if their concern was if Gale Force drafted double support, double warrior, Syndragosa, enabling them to siege.
Yeah, which we've seen fan run comfortably as well. That's a good point. Removing the Arthas. Either way, we do see them pull away from the double warrior side of things. They get the Gul'dan though, so they're still going to have really strong battery and then also wave clear. Tomorrow, crippled in the world of supports. Rhaegar is going to stand out as probably the best here. Preferably going into a Tidal Waves build. And then what else here? What backline, what solo?
Casanova is the
Ragnaros?
player.
I wouldn't mind
He's
it.
been playing, so
Yeah.
he's been exclusively playing double warrior up to this point, so being willing to switch things up now and play Ragnaros. He does have a tendency to get caught. He has a long average time dead, Casanova as a player does. Switching to warrior has shrunk that up a lot, right? Especially with Tahaka, he has 1,000,000 health bars. So this will be telling to see, if he's able to make that adjustment and know that he's playing on somebody who is much more vulnerable in the early game.
I really like it. It's going to also stall out Gale Force eSports and any early game advantage they may be looking for. The biggest difference for Gale Force is they do not have the doubles warrior here. Having Greymane and Gul'dan makes their composition significantly better in the laning aspect of the game here on Tomb of the Spider Queen. So I do like it a bit more than we saw in the first iteration, especially with the Johanna and a double warrior. Anytime we can pull away from that, I really enjoy it. But I gotta say, I'm still sold on No Tomorrow's Draft.
You digging it?
It's just, it feels like right now they're one of the only teams that is looking at what does Korea do and trying to play around it. It does. The fact that they're putting more emphasis into the doubles warrior at times, but it's more the fact that Ragnaros is showing up, but he's only showing up in certain maps. He's non-existent in North America, but we've talked about in Infernal Shrines, Tomb of the Spider Queen's another one. We even see it sometimes on other weird maps, but for the most part, those are still the two where his passive is still so good that it makes up for the weakness that he's gotten through his nerf, through his Q. And they have a setup with the Murden to be able to get the Sulfura Smash off. A lot of what they have built in this draft, minus the support choke. That is the biggest weakness. But again, I think it's so forgiving. They'll make up for it into a double support, which I think is extremely hard to run with just a Johanna.
Even though it's a support choke, Tiger JK's most played support is Rhaegar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not considered one of the top ones right now, not like Malfurion, not like Lucio, but in this instance, he's going to help out with wave clear as well. He can land his Ancestral Healing. Of course, that will need to make sure that that continues throughout, but things look good for No Tomorrow. On the other side, Gale Force eSports, what do you see them needing to do to make sure they can close this game out?
They're going to honestly have to just wait till the mid-game fight and be successful. Like a lot of their draft to put on that. They're going to be fine in the early game like they have been in the past. They'll have decent siege with the Gul'dan having the double support. All that's going to work out fine compared to what it was the last time that they ran this draft. But what it should struggle in is in that mid-game fight. And No Tomorrow can buy time. They won't fall behind in experience because they have the Ragnaros. So at some point, post-10, these teams are going to clash. And if Gale Force is the one losing it, I don't see their comp coming back. But if they win it, it's going to be hard to lose their lead.
Well, we're ready to see if that's the case. Gale Force eSports looking to tie this series up as we head into Tomb of the Spider Queen for Game 2.
Just based on the fact that double support, when it gets ahead stats-wise, it just really is hard to lose a good fight, especially if you have a solid battery for the Ariel, like you have on the Gul'dan.
Chrono once again play Ariel to be looking to have the energy from the battery of Gul'dan. Looking to see if anything is out of the ordinary. No, everyone playing their normal roles. Q build Gul'dan, looking at Fellflame. Don't see much corruption build anymore, Dread.
We do not. It's just, you know, dead, really, I guess. I find it interesting that it's just become anywhere and everywhere the go-to build. Echoed Corruption is just fallen out of favor. 4-man rotation for this top turret. Gale Force trying to rotate up, cut them off. Will they get the roots? Tiger JK barely skirts around it. Urho makes it out too. So somehow No Tomorrow does get damage on the turret, but it forces them all to tap, heal back up.
We'll see Ragnaros in the bottom lane. Probably Greymane too. He's starting to make his way downtown to join him in the bottom lane. And Ragnaros is stacking, so that is a possibility, especially with a lot of lockdown that Gale Force has. With Malfurion, maybe Gale Force can try to get some picks on Ragnaros as he's trying to stack.
See, this is where I think Gale Force's draft should fall off really heavily in the laning phase if they're going to play it out this way. Because Ragnaros is going to be the most dominant solo lane, they're going to commit 2 to bottom in the 2 versus 1s that we've seen more popularly from Gale Force eSports. Sorry, speaking is hard at times. But
it's not like your job or anything.
No. So what that does is it weakens their 4 colossally to win already very terrifying skirmishing 4 as we see Vala and just Urho, Zarya. Everybody can get so aggressive for free because they have a man up and they have a winning 4-man even if it was a full 4 versus 4. So as long as Ragnaros can really just draw aggro, that is a big, big win here for No Tomorrow. And the best part is they aren't forced to rush a turn-in. Gale Force, on the other hand, if they wait for the second turn-in phase and then they look to get the turn-in, Ragnaros, again, is such a good stall tactic that the first 50 gems are essentially going to be a waste on the side of Gale Force. Even No Tomorrow questioning if they want to collapse onto that bottom half. This is just huge for No Tomorrow, and again, showing positive changes for the squad.
There is a difference of build for the Ariel player this time than what we saw. I think it was V-Steps before, focusing more on getting Searing Light so that Ariel can contribute to damage. This time, going more into the Sacred Sweep build, at least at level 1, potentially for blinds later on at 13.
Yeah, that's essentially what a lot of this build, I think, is indicated. Is literally, do I need the blind? And if yes, I need the speed, the cast time on the level 1. And that synergizes with the level 4 a little too well, so it's just smart to move in that direction and still take the cooldown at 7. But if you don't need the blind at 13, then you're comfortable with like a little bit more leeway. It's just mainly it's underestimated to try and get value out of your blind, how out of position you are for how long at a competitive level if you do not take that level 1.
And it may be easier to hit the blinds for Vala too, because she's going to be going pretty aggro, granted that she has Zarya's shields to back her up. So if she can blind for a little while and take away the damage of Vala there, then that might be the difference of being able to start winning the team fight for Gale Force. Very close, very passive, back and forth game so far from these teams. Just sitting in the lanes, trying to get the turn in. 40 in the bank so far for Gale Force eSports. This might be the first kill, but it's Equinox who is tanky Johanna. She'll walk on out.
The fact that Gale Force is focusing, getting that Ragnaros pickup on bottom too. That was a huge moment. Gale Force now should be able to look to force a turn-in. With Ragnaros dead, that would be the best time to make that happen. So he can't Molten Core out. No tomorrow after that pick though, again, it doesn't really hurt them too much. As long as Gale Force forces an early turn-in, it's going to be fine. Gale Force honestly does want to wait out this turn-in. It's just going to be too easy for Ragnaros to get the clear, and it will set them back more gems than it will gain them. They're going to force. There it goes. So we'll see how much they make happen. They need to be extremely offensive here if they're going to be successful with this early siege. And again, the lack of just 1v1er to match Ragnaros on bottom.
Yeah, we'll watch where Ragnaros wants to use Molten Core. He pushes out the bottom lane pretty far, so that is nice as the Web Weaver starts to descend into lanes. All the rest of No Tomorrow are floating around between mid and top, looking to see where they can make the defense to stop Gale Force from getting too much off of these Web Weavers. A lot of Gale Force are focused here in the top lane. So No Tomorrow responds same. Ragnaros should go into Molten Core in mid. Yeah, seeing a lot of the members there, especially since he was able to push out bottom lane.
It's good against the Molten Core to try and rid of this on mid. Tiger JK sitting here kind of trying to battle.
Dog on dog violence. And and it worked!
That's what happens. That is the power of Molten Core there. So we're a bottle kill here. Worst case timing for Gale Force. Tiger JK rooted into the Web Weaver. Equinox still has the Iron Skin, I believe.
Bot Web Weaver starting to push against those turrets, and bottom it's about halfway down in health as Ragnaros starts to rotate in to get rid of that one too.
You really could not have asked for more off of this first turn-in for Gale Force eSports. Just based on the defensive tools on the side of No Tomorrow and the not hitting post 10 where the double support becomes a lot more terrifying. The fact that they got those, couple of front walls is significantly more than you would expect out of a Ragnaros composition.
And more than a half level lead too.
Yeah, it's insane what they were able to get, because Ragnaros actually went mid the Molten Core and then focused more on the kill, but that got enough structural damage on bottom because, again, nobody was there, and then the fact that Rhaegar didn't rotate top to help that, it was an advantage on top, an advantage on mid, and on bottom, all throughout that entire web wave phase for Gale Force eSports. And that is just really a never should happen situation this early on for No Tomorrow.
Tomorrow going to do what they can to attack before Gale Force gets 10. They have half of what they need turned into the Spider Queen for their own Web Weaver phase. Fan's pretty far in, going after Casanova. No Tomorrow's going to turn onto him, but he has all the escape tools needed to get back to his team in time. And Gale Force eSports, as long as they're keeping No Tomorrow battling in the mid, they're keeping them from turning in and getting Web Weavers.
Arrow's going to start this channel. Aka face is there, though. It's going to be all about zoning until that 10 mark, but Gale Force doesn't have enough to get another turn-in in that 10 window, so they're going to get desperate. And they don't have enough initiation. That's another thing we haven't really talked about when looking at Gale Force's comp. It's just Horrify is their initiation. And how crippling that could be later on. Trees cut out.
That Horrify was used.
That was the initiation. They got it.
Gale Force almost there.
Yeah, they actually got a lot more gems a lot faster than I expected. But also, removing the 15 off of Zarya, getting 3 more into their control, help them out. They dump a lot of them there. 11 left to be turned in. Just now breaking the threshold, but that's going to be a Web Weaver turn in here for No Tomorrow. They'll be able to pick up the 10s. So No Tomorrow really needs to make a play here once they hit that 10 mark.
They're setting up. Airho's anchoring in the bush, seeing if he can jump in. Stormbolt somebody at the start of heroic abilities. Everything normal for No Tomorrow. Containment Strike gets Gale Force out of the way of Arrow Stormbolt. Still looking for it, still sharking.
They're going to siege over top, it looks like. No, Tomorrow's going to rotate all through mid. Okay. They did at least draw members of Gale Force top, which means they have to rotate through mid, which means bottom will be left alone for a very long period of time. So there's going to be a huge benefit here for Gale Force, or excuse me, No Tomorrow, especially once Mike Udall shows on bottom, or Fan, excuse me, there on the gray main, which he now has.
One fort down. No Tomorrow claims the first fort of the game. They're rotating down to Fan, gray main, as well as what's left of their Web Weaver, which is just not very much. But it did take out towers. It took out the gate. No Tomorrow have almost caught up. Oh, the Condemned pulls Arrowho back. This may be the first fight unless No Tomorrow can get back.
This is exactly the fight I was talking about. Blessed Shield is going to be used. 8 avatars there. Horrify only hitting 1. Not what you want to see, but a health bar is going so low. That is going to be go for the throat, getting a kill. Gale Force eSports getting the first one. No Tomorrow on full retreat. They are going to make it out just fine.
Yeah, a lot of heroics burned to get that Muradin kill, but heroics burned on No Tomorrow's side too. They used Ancestral Healing, which was the longest. They have Avatar being used too, and then Sulfurous Smash was thrown out. Unfortunately, though, there's just not a whole lot to try to combo that with, so it didn't hit in that instance. We'll see how future team fights go with getting the Sulfurous Smash, being able to throw it down on somebody who stopped.
The safest kill target for No Tomorrow has got to be, you know, Ariel. If they can get onto her before she drops Aegis. Just because Malf, I guess, I mean, in theory, Malfurion has Ice Block later on that he can save himself out of, but if you can stunlock somebody to death, either one of them would die. Casanova's going to drop his Molten Core, already getting chunked out very, very quickly. We were still at 50% HP. Gale Force moves up. If they get the fort, they will hit 13. The minion won't be enough, but the experience gained off of bot and top could be. And it looks like No Tomorrow is going to forfeit the mid fort.
13 is where we do get blinds from Ariel. Burning Rage for Johanna for more damage. Ice Block is going to be big for Malfurion, and Gale Force immediately goes for the fight. Sulfurous Smash hits so many people. An Expulsion Zone does split the team in half.
They're trying to force. They realize this is the best fight they're going to get. There's the Aegis, Urho, Stormbolt after done. Not even needed. Everybody's health very, very low here. The silence is going to cause him to go down, so it is only going to be an even trade for now. Health bars of Gale Force so much higher. There's the go for the throat. Fan here with no mercy on that gray main.
There's the benefit of the double war or double support really for Gale Force eSports being able to heal back up and go re-engage again. Trading out the kills. The silence was great to make sure that Muradin couldn't hit Avatar and be able to get that extra health. Started out really good though for No Tomorrow that they were able to split and Sulfurous Smash hit so many. But without actually claiming a kill, everyone was just healed back up to full.
That was a raw 3-man Sulfurous Smash dead center hit, and that fight still was not won by No Tomorrow, just based on the fact that it was more of a counter initiation and nobody was like realized it would be that impactful, obviously. Oh man, that was a huge window that's going to be lost now for No Tomorrow. If they are not able to get this turn in pre-16, Equinox doing his job goaltending up top. Akaface doing that on bottom. No Tomorrow needs this turn in pre-16.
Blessed Shield being used. Arrow had to use
Horrify.
and burn, but the Horrifies put Tiger JK in a really scary spot. He's trying to run back behind Talking Trees, but gets taken out. Can No Tomorrow turn the fight around? Jason is trying to do just that with his strafe, but Condemn into Corruption melts the health bars of No Tomorrow.
And they're going to be able to walk out just fine. Everybody's so low in HP, though. Fan will not be able to get that last flask damage out there, but this is going to be a siege up onto the bottom half of the map. Still looking for that 16 is GFE. Just barely out of reach. Will No Tomorrow panic force or try and backdoor a sneak in turn in? Looks like neither. Gale Force not risking anything here.
What do No Tomorrow need to do at this point?
You wait out this entire phase and you just soak up until 16 and you lose as little gems as possible. Like, if we take a minute to appreciate how many gems, who has all the gem marinos? So 23 sit on Casanova, 33 on Zarya. They cannot die. You put all the rest of your gems on only those two, and the next fight you only risk the 3 low gem count people, if anyone. And the minute things go sour, you go to the other turn-in to try and force it. But you can't do that until post 16. The rest of this is going to be, you know, stop the bleeding for now, which they're fine. The waves are actually pretty poorly prepared for GFE, except for bottom, which is going to be a clean sweep considering GFE is still showing 5 mid.
So frustrating that No Tomorrow caught Equinox, just couldn't get the kill, but
And
now
they
they've
got
been
flanked.
shown
Oh
out, and
my.
Gale Force are going for the
Oh.
flank.
Not like this, guys.
All right, here we go. Sulfura Smash drops down. Twilight Dream 2 already. Silence is doing a lot of damage. Casanova's trying to get back in time. He uses his Q to barely keep himself alive with his health. Jason has used Strafe to try to do what he can to the health bars of Gale Force eSports, but they are so durable with this composition.
I have no idea how they managed to make it out of there, but it didn't cost them anything. Everybody is going to be just fine for now. Mid Web Weaver and bottom were already cleared up. Top sitting below 50%, so we won't be getting too much work done left, but 16 still out of range. Can Gale Force siege up and force this keep with 16? I don't think so. They don't, with the double support, they shouldn't be able to. They can hang out there all day, but they don't have enough actual damage outside of just Gul'dan. That should be pretty punishable.
There is no Molten Core, at least, to stall this out. Halfway to 16 are No Tomorrow. A lot of the members are being kept here in the mid to stop Gale Force from sieging. Ragnaros, though, at least in the bottom lane, was clearing out that lane. Tomorrow sneaks closer and closer to 16, but they would love to turn this fight around.
Mike Udall has absolute confidence in his team right now with how risky he's just going up there and face-checking a team closing on 16. But then they walk away, it looks like here, now realizing No Tomorrow now can take this fight. That is the, you know, struggle that we see with the composition built by Gale Force. They can hang out all day with their sustain, but maybe not do too much damage with only Mike Udall on the Gul'dan for that ranged poke. Channel's gonna be started, 16's there. Mike Udall gets split by the expulsion zone, but a good Aegis.
Good Aegis, but immediately after, there goes the Sulfura Smash. Twilight Dream is down, and that spells the end of Ragnaros and Vala.
Yeah, Jason there is already just dead. The Horrify splitting Tiger JK too far away. He still has Ancestral. Pre-cleanse the Condemn. They've already lost so many people here. It's gonna be probably a keep now going down No Tomorrow with only a warrior, double warrior, and a support.
Gale Force play this out so well because every time there's an Aegis that goes down, No Tomorrow get ready to jump on top of it, and then Horrify and Twilight Dream just wrecks somebody, anybody, preferably two, like just happened in this last fight. No Tomorrow can never actually be able to take that target down, even with Aegis showing exactly where it's like, place Sulfura Smash here, you just can't get it.
Yeah, it's a bit of like a Ring of Frost Void Prison combo, you know? You see the Void, and you know where you're supposed to press your R button, but if your opponent just realizes that your movement is going to be very predictable at that point, you threaten either the Zeratul or the Jaina, and it's never going to go off in a, you know, nearly as convenient of a way as you project in your head. Boss is going to be forced to panic fight here for No Tomorrow, realizing that they're down 20. They have enough of a window that if it gets scouted, they'll realize it. Here it is. It's going to be viewed. Look for Gale Force here to try and retreat. No, instead they just move right on up.
Ancestral Healing has already been used on Jason. Sulfura Smash hits Crowin, but Jason and Talking Trees are in so much trouble. Rhaegar too, the next to fall as Trees is getting chased down. Throws Explosion Zone in the back to try to save himself. Casanova's going to hop out of this in a not fun position at all.
Full retreat, but it did save the 50 gems of Casanova. If her hook can survive too, they can get that bait turn-in on bottom. That's what I was talking about before, because you know that a boss or a keep are going to be the focus here. No Tomorrow have to just go, well, at least we're going to be able to get a turn-in. Otherwise, it could be the game. And there it goes. Turn-in boss play from Gale Force eSports. No, they aren't going to start the boss with Fan. They have all but one. Ooh, that's right there was Haka face with the calculations. He's like, how many do we have? How many do we have? All right, gotta stop the channel.
Player math. Infinitely better than caster math.
Infinitely better, as you can tell by our description of the difference between the two being infinite. Yeah, we're pretty trash.
Boss. Taken by Gale Force. 20 here for Gale Force. Web Weavers.
They got it all.
On the blue side. This looks like the beginning of the end for No Tomorrow in Game 2.
Yeah, one pick is all it's going to take to really seal the deal here, especially with so much pressure on that mid Web Weaver with no keep. So let's find out. Gale Force is moving up. Make it easy work here at this keep. Man, No Tomorrow's not even looking to move past it here. They have to. If they have any shot of turning this game with the Condemn down, Urho goes in.
Jump, Expulsion Zone 2. It's now or never for No Tomorrow. Ancestral Healing does not save the life of Casanova as he throws out Sulfurous Smash. That's 1, 2, 3 down so far. Jason being chased down by minions in the back. And Gale Force eSports ties up the series, winning game number 2 on Tomb.
With a strategy, a little bit of an alternative to their original strategy they showed to Tomb of the Spider Queen here. And a bit more comforts for No Tomorrow. And they were still able to take it out. So now, I mean, I feel like we have a full series on our hand. We saw the first case, we see the second one, you know, and Gale Force very promptly was like, no, we're done with this. So what happens in the future drafts? So we see No Tomorrow put more focus on removing the comfort strategies of Gale Force eSports, or is it just more back to what they consider objectively more powerful play? I feel like you got to look at Gale Force now.
I want to know your thoughts on the change-up of having Greymane and Gul'dan versus Double Warrior for Gale Force eSports. Do you think that it was prompted because of the Arthas ban, because of the draft of No Tomorrow, or because of the bit of struggle they had with this draft on Tomb yesterday?
I would say the Arthas ban surely didn't help. I think that was a really heads-up ban coming out from No Tomorrow in the draft. It was kind of the thing that sealed the deal, you know, but I would say their performance might be the biggest reason, at least for me, just having that questionable moments in that game where it's like, you know, how do we actually stop this? And, you know, and then getting the Gul'dan really helped out their early game.
All right, well, we are going to take a break while these teams get set up for game number 3.